Futures and options are inherently risky and not suitable for all investors. Only risk capital should be used. An investor may lose more than the original investment. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
Matt, I want to discuss with you. I do some mentoring on the floor and educating, and I've just kind of seen over the years of doing this, what makes a trader fail. I mean, I have a room on the floor where my clients all listen in to the exact same thing every single day. I have some people that are doing well, and some who, they aren't doing so well. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just give it some thought sometimes about, what separates a guy who's going to make it from a guy who's going to struggle or even fail. And, the one thing I see, the starting point is really the cash flow trade. It has to be risk capital. And people come into it and say, oh yeah, it's 10 grand, I can lose, but then you don't see them trade.
Right.
So it's not really risk capital.
Right.
Other people, they overthink everything. They want to get, one issue I run into is that people have spent so much time and energy trying to learn how to trade. And I think we've talked enough that, most stuff out there is garbage. Mm-hmm. But they have all this stuff that they've thought about, and now they come across some things that we use on the floor, and they can't separate that from these years and years of nonsense.
Sure.
And they try and make it all line up, and that never does. So once again, they're not really trading.
Right.
But that's my standpoint. Not keeping emotions in check. Not getting a system they believe in. And I don't care if it's automated. I don't care if it's the light turns red, you sell, it turns green, you buy. I don't care if it's trading the way I trade, where you try and find levels to trade off of. But find a system and trust it and trade it. And they don't do that. They get their emotions involved. So I just thought I would talk to you as a broker and see, what you see that separates your successful clients from the ones that fail.
Sure. Well, I definitely agree with a lot of the things you said. I think one of the most important things is, any money these people work with should be pure risk capital. We never ever want people where if they lose money, they're not going to be able to put food on the table, that type of thing. And that's how they have to look at this, as money they can afford to lose. Next, I think a lot of people come in with the wrong expectations. There's lots of stories out there about people making fortunes trading futures and day trading and writing options and all this good stuff, but there's not a lot of press out there about all the bad stuff. And the reality is the vast majority of people who try to trade futures lose money. The very small few who are successful make all the money. So there are certainly some things separating those two camps, but I think that the average person coming in, I think their expectations may be misaligned a lot of the time. This is not a get-rich-quick type of thing,
And that's a good point, because there's guys on the floor who trade 25, 30 years, and they've been through the ringer, so to speak. They spent a lot of energy and blood and sweat and tears to learn how to trade. And you're right, people come into the business thinking, well, I've read that book.
Yep.
I went to that seminar.
Yep.
And I can go in this business now and compete. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
People are always looking for the holy grail or the next big indicator, that type of stuff. And the reality is, as you and I both know, for the most part, I don't find indicators to be of much help at all. The only true indicator is price action. Price action is pure, and the market is always right. So people looking for shortcuts, looking for things that are going to make it easier, and it is not an easy process. It does take a lot of time, a lot of study, and a lot of self-discipline and self-control above all else to become a successful trader.
Yeah. Well, that's something else too that I find myself really preaching to my, if you want to call them students. You have to have discipline, but that goes two ways. It's, we can all talk about when you're wrong, get out.
Yep.
Okay, but it's also when you're right, you have to hold it. You're right. So now to try and make this trade become something meaningful for you, or discipline from the standpoint of, well, there's the trade, take it. You know, none of this, well, it looks like it's going to fail this time, or I don't like it this time. Act on it.
It's a tough habit too. You know, it goes against human nature to cut losses short and let your winners run. People want to be right. They want to get that small winner, and they don't want to take a loss. And you have to get used to taking losses. You have to be happy to take a loss to be successful trading. And you have to be able to deal with that unknown and that discomfort, because the only way you have a shot of being successful is to catch those big trades, catch those runners here and there, because those will more than make up for a lot of your smaller losses.
Yeah, good point. Well, we can talk on this subject a lot more, and I'm sure we will, but thanks for your time.